getting lost in Trastevere, full of small streets and alleyways. So nice. Not when your feet hurt though. And here we are at Piazza Santa Maria de Trastevere. I feel like jumping in the fountain, but I think I know I can't. I can't. The Italians love to build fountains, just, you know, against houses, other buildings. Oh, can I jump in? Okay, so I am the Protestant cemetery in Rome, and I'm pretty sure asking, what is she doing in a cemetery? Well, my dears, I will let you know right now. I am on the hunt? That's a very strong word. So basically, I like visiting graves of famous people. And since I am a literature aficionado, and I have a degree in English and all that, and I studied Keats and Shelley, I came here to pay my respects to their works of art. And now I'm gonna try and find their graves, their tombstones. I think I have to Google it. This is definitely the most famous and most beautiful tombstone adornation in this cemetery. It's called the Weeping Angel, and it's very, very famous. And so I've learned that if you don't ask, you won't know. And I've asked, and Shelley's grave is right next to the Weeping Angel, which is fantastic. The Terme di Caracalla, and Terme means bath. I'm gonna sit down because I'm tired while I talk to you. And this was huge back in Roman times. It was built in 207 AD after Christ, Anno Dominum, and it could house up to 1,600 people, so you can imagine. Lots of people. Anyway, so it's like a normal Roman bath with different rooms for different purposes: swimming pool, hot bath, warm bath, cold bath, a gymnasium, apparently a library, because in Roman times, baths, terme, were not just used for hygiene. They were used as well as a way of socializing with people, basically like going to the pub in England. Yeah, so that's nice. But instead of sitting down for a pint, you would sit down in a pool with lots of other people, probably naked, which which is nice. Anyway, I'm not going in because, to be honest, I don't think it's worth the money. I read that there's not much left because the Visigoths, when they came to Rome, they destroyed it. So, you know, that's it. So, approaching the Spanish Steps, it's lively, lots and lots of people. It's almost 9 o'clock in the evening. It's so light, it's so bright. I think people are getting hungry. And there's the museum I'm going tomorrow, which is the Kids Sharing Museum. Tomorrow, yeah, I hope to go tomorrow. Yeah, I know. Got really burnt today. So yes, people are sitting on the steps. Lovely. This is the Pantheon, and it's one of the oldest buildings in Rome, way back to the 1st, 2nd centuries. And this is Piazza della Rotonda, and its name comes from the fact that the Pantheon was a Roman temple and then became a church devoted to Santa Maria, and they named it Church of Santa Maria Rotonda, therefore the name of the square. So let's go in. So the cupola, the dome, works as an astrological clock. Don't ask me how, but it looks very interesting. Another thing is that it is open, as you can see. So when it rains, the rain falls down inside the Pantheon, but there are several little holes on the ground. They work as drains for the water. Fantastic. Definitely one of the most famous artists in Italy. This is the tomb of Raphael, not the Ninja Turtle. the artist. Hello, I'm inside the Colosseum. It is huge. Look at this. Look at this. Fortunately, there's not many people, which is good. And I'm waiting for my tour. I'm going on an English tour around the whole of the Colosseum. It's so cool. It's like you can try and imagine what happened, or what used to happen thousands of years ago with all the gladiator fights and all that. And I heard that the Colosseum could hold around 36,000 people, and if you can see behind me there, so basically the wealthy people, the important people would stay on the lower levels, you know, close to the action, and the poor people, the commoners and all that, used to stay on the upper levels, which is sort of like, you know, wrestling, you know. You pay the ticket, you buy an expensive ticket and you stay close to the ring. You buy a cheap ticket, you stay up there and you can't see anything, and instead of humans you see ants and stuff. So I think it's pretty much the same thing. But this is a relic, honestly. This is a relic. And now I understand why they called Rome the Eternal City, because everywhere you go, you see pieces of history, and they're so well preserved, and they build the new with the old, they mix it together and somehow they make it work, which is really nice. So yes, just gonna sit down, rest my feet for a little while because the tour is supposed to be almost 2 hours. So yes.
Connected to the most important school of the gladiators, these mountains. Consider that on this side of the Colosseum, outside, on this side, there was a district. It was used for raising big things, man, scenery, probably also animals. How? Thanks to a system of waters of the fountains. Well, all this water was collected in this conduit, running around the basin of the Colosseum. Then it was led to the Tiber, actually to a bigger train.
This is the 5th level and it's only for guided tours. This is the upper level for the commoners and the plebs.
From here you can clearly see the underground, with the skull.
Just finished my visit to the Colosseum, and something really funny happened to me. One of these street vendors, you need to be careful with them because they put things in your hand and then they expect money. So if you're not thinking of buying, please be very careful. The same with the water, be careful because, well, you never know. So, a few tips. If you come in the summer, bring tops, shorts and stuff, but don't bring too short shorts, and always bring sort of like a scarf or a cardigan, because if you're going inside churches they won't let you go in if you are exposed, like if your shoulders are exposed or if your legs above your knees are exposed. Always carry a bottle of water with you. Fortunately, there are plenty of like public fountains around with fresh water, so you can always, you know, get a new supply. Oh, it's so hot, man. Sunscreen. Please always bring sunscreen and apply it all the time, especially if you burn easily like me, which is, I need to buy more sunscreen. Okie dokie, so shoes. Bring comfortable shoes, because if you're like me, you're gonna walk a lot, and that means that you need shoes that won't make your feet hurt, like mine are now. So yes, bring comfortable shoes so you can, you know, walk without feeling the pain. Oh, another thing I forgot. Oh yeah, buy your tickets in advance for the Colosseum behind me. Buy in advance, and I advise you to buy the complete tour, which is amazing. It's 29 euros, but it's amazing. The tour tells you so much about the history of the Colosseum, and you actually learn a lot. And I learned a few new things today on my tour, and it takes you to the underground, to the normal, like the ground level, the lower level, and its people, and to the up top, to the fifth ring, which is the top of the top, and you have got an amazing view of the Colosseum. Oh, there's a shade here. I'm just gonna like shade myself for a while. Also buy your ticket in advance for the Vatican museums if you're planning on going, because it gets very, very crowded, especially with the groups. Yes, and buy it for early morning. The entrance to the basilica is free, but the queues are horrendous. So yeah, always carry a hat like me, sunglasses, because it gets really, really hot, and believe me, I burned my head yesterday, so that's nice. I know it looks ridiculous, but who cares? Another thing, when you're crossing the road, always be careful, because Italian drivers are crazy. They do not stop, even if you are on a pedestrian crossing, you know. Usually if you are on a pedestrian crossing, a zebra crossing, you know, by law you have to stop. They don't. Even if you're in the middle of the road, you probably have to run, because they'll be like, who cares? I don't care. So be very, very careful with that. And these are my top tips for Italy and Rome in special. Oh, another thing that I almost forgot. I need to change memory card. If you are in Rome for more than 3 days, there's a finger there. For more than 2 days, 3 days, I advise you to buy the Roma Pass. So the Roma Pass for 48 hours, I think you've got 48 hours and 72 hours, and they give you like free transportation all around the city, which is nice, because you can just hop on, hop off metro, buses, trams, which I like when my feet hurt and I have to go to from one place to another. And the 72-hour one, which is the one I have, gives you free entrance to 2 museums. The Vatican is included, but I prefer to buy that one separately because there might be other museums that I want to visit, like St. Angelo's Castle, which is free with the Roma Pass. You just scan it, go in, have fun. And that's it. And then you've got discounts on many other museums and places to visit. So yes, it's up to you. So let's go now.